Welcome back, everyone, to the Two Guys in a Cooler channel. Eric here. Today, we've got a special battle of video as we take two cold smokers and pit them against each other and see which one comes out on top. We're going to be taking Smoke Daddy's largest unit, which is the Magnum P.I.G, and it's going to go head-to-head with Bella's Cold Smoke Generator by Smokin-it. Both of these units are going to be put through the exact same test as we try and figure out which one is easier to use, which one delivers the maximum amount of cold smoke, and at what temperature do both of these units operate inside your smoker. Do they live up to their claims? We also want to figure out which one's easier to clean, which one's better built, and all of those answers are going to be discovered in today's video. I'm glad you could join me. Let the battle begin. First up, let's look at Bella's Cold Smoke Generator by Smokin-it. This unit does come with a variable speed control air pump, and it's also made out of 18 gauge 304 stainless steel. It's incredibly heavy duty. The dimensions are 3 inches by 3 inches by 10 inches tall and does require 3 holes, a 3/4 inch hole for the pipe at the bottom and 2 1/8 inch pilot to mount the unit on the side or on the door panel. Smokin-it recommends to use wood pellets as the fuel source, and this unit will take roughly about 2 pounds to fill it all the way up. To remove the unit, all you got to do is unscrew the 2 screws at the top. The unit slides right out. It couldn't be easier. Next, we're going to be looking at the Smoke Daddy's Magnum P.I.G. Now, this does require a 1 1/8 inch hole, and it's securely fastened by a nut that holds everything in place between 2 washers. The Smoke Daddy does come with a variable control air pump, and in my case, they happen to be the exact same model. This unit is made out of Schedule 40 6061 machined aluminum, 4.5 inches in diameter, 16 inches tall, and this cold smoker hangs off the side of your unit by the outlet tube. The recommended fuel type for this cold smoker is going to be wood chips or small chunks of wood, and this cold smoker can handle about 6 cups of fuel or a little over a pound. There's a spring baffle that's included that allows a pathway of air through the fuel so that the fuel doesn't choke off any airflow. Okay, with that behind us, let's go ahead and light both of these units. That's going to be our first test. We're going to call it ease of use. Smoke Daddy recommends, and I totally agree, that your air pump should be on its max setting. That's going to get the maximum amount of airflow through this unit. And if you have charcoal pieces, line the bottom of your unit first. Come back then with your wood chunks or your wood chips and only fill it up about 1/4 of the way. This is going to help light it a little bit faster. As soon as you're done putting in the fuel, unscrew the bottom so that the cap can be removed, at which point you're going to take your propane torch and get after it. There's a lot of factors that play in on how quickly the Smoke Daddy gets lit. Whether there's a lot of charcoal, whether you're using chips or chunks, whether the wood is wet or dry. And depending on those circumstances, it could take you anywhere between 1 minute to 2 minutes to where it's lit and consistently burning. Once you get the entire bottom section of your hopper evenly lit, you can go ahead and close it off. This is what it's going to look like with the air pump at max capacity. I don't run my smoker like that just because it's too much smoke for the amount of space. We're going to go ahead and turn that down to about a 50%. And this is what the smoke is going to look like coming out at roughly about 50% airflow. Now, I'm going to save my opinions till the very end of this video, so be sure to stick around so that you could hear what I thought about each one of these steps. Once you have it lit, go ahead and fill the rest of it up with the rest of your fuel if you so desire, and you can go ahead and close it off. In this case, we're totally locked and loaded. Now let's light Bella's Cold Smoke Generator. We're going to take our air pump and put it on high velocity. It is recommended to use wood pellets for this particular cold smoke generator, and we're going to fill it all the way to the top. And once again, I'm going to save my opinions till the very end of this video in regards to both of these units. Now that my hopper is completely full, I'm going to put the cap right back on it, and then we're going to begin to light it with a propane torch. At the bottom of the cold smoke generator, there's 2 holes, and that's where we're going to light it. Now, I'm only going to light one of those holes, and I'm only going to light it for about 20 seconds, 15 to 20 seconds, so that you can see what it looks like. This is the inside of my smoker after about 20 seconds with the air pump on maximum velocity. As you can see, kicking in the smoke. We're going to go ahead and reduce the speed to about a medium. This is typically the setting that I like to have my smoker when I'm doing long smokes. Now we're looking at the inside of my smoker with the air pump on roughly about 50%, and I get a nice steady flow of smoke. And that's how you light both of those units. Let's go ahead and move on to test number 2, which is temperature. This is such an important test for cold smokers. Both units claim to be able to cold smoke under 100 degrees. Let's see if that's true. The Smoke Daddy is up and running. We've got it about a 50% velocity on the air pump, and I've got 2 probes inside the unit. Neither one of them are directly in front of the smoke. They're about in the center of my smoker. This is what our temperature gauge reads at, and this time lapse is going to take you through about 30 minutes of reading the temperatures inside the smoker. And it looks like we're finishing up at about 136 degrees on the high end with this cold smoke generator. I did think to put a tray for a second test inside the unit to see if that would make any difference. And with a tray kind of deflecting the smoke, this is what our temperature readings look like after also a 30-minute test run. And with a tray, with basically a deflector plate, it looks like my max temperature is going to peak out at about 118, 117, somewhere in that range. Now for Smokin-It's cold smoke generator, we've got our air pump set at 50%, just like the other one. We're going to run the exact same test. I have 2 temperature probes in my smoker. We're going to do a 30-minute time lapse, so the same exact amount of time. This is what Bella's cold smoke generator looks like as far as temperature inside the smoker, and it looks like it's capping out at about 79 degrees, generating true cold smoke. Now, I thought this would be interesting. Do not try this at home. I couldn't do this with Smoke Daddies because it burnt my hand, but when I grab the little exit tube, it's barely even warm. And when I put my hand directly in front of the smoke, the temperature of the smoke, it doesn't affect my hand. I would say that it's definitely under 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 83 degrees max. And so it's generating actual cold smoke. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do this little experiment. It is important to know that I also added a deflector plate to Smokin-It's cold smoke generator to see if it would make any difference. And running the exact same test with a 30-minute time lapse, the max temperature I got to was 78, 79 degrees. So it made no difference whatsoever. And that brings us to test number 3, which is all about smoke. How long will each one of these cold smoke generators generate smoke? Let's see. All right, let's start with the Smoke Daddy Magnum P.I.G. We used the fuel source that they recommended at about 50% power on the air pump. And I took shots every hour so that you could see how the fuel was being spent. On their website, they say that this particular unit will deliver 2.5 hours worth of smoke. And as you could see, we were able to stretch that to about 4 hours of consistent smoke at 50% power. Not too bad. The Smokin-It Bella's cold smoke generator claims that you can get anywhere between 8 to 10 hours. This is off of their website. So we did the exact same thing. We used wood pellets on about a 50% speed. We got consistent smoke the entire time and 1 hour intervals so that you could see how the fuel was being spent. This is at 5 hours. I'm in disbelief. We're still going strong. Nice steady smoke coming through the smoker. We're actually running some andouille sausage for this particular smoke. It's 7 hours. You see that we're really breaking it down. We're getting down to the very bottom of it, and it looks like we are just about to the very end, coming in the 8-hour mark. And there we are at 9 hours. This is about when it finished. And as you can see, we're just down to some coals, very little to no smoke. Now this brings us to our 4th and final test, the cleaning and disassembling of the units. How do they stack up against each other? Let's check it out. All right, first let's look at the Smoke Daddy. We start to disassemble this by removing the top. That just pops right off. Next, we have to loosen that bit there at the bottom, and the bottom comes right out. And this particular unit actually has a grating. And so as you can see in the middle, if you have any wood, if you have any blocks, that's going to stay inside. Your ashes is what's going to come out. So if you do want to empty out your wood so that you could start fresh, all you got to do is take out the spring baffle and then turn the entire thing upside down to remove any of the debris that's inside that hopper. As soon as you do that, you'll notice that you have an aluminum grating at the very bottom that's held in place by a retaining ring. Now, if you do want to remove that, you are going to need some snap ring pliers, but once you get that off, that grating comes right on out and you're left with an empty hopper. Because the outlet tube is actually threaded into the hopper itself, if you want to do a deep clean, and every once in a while you kind of have to, you do have to remove the nut, the hopper slides right out, at which point you could go ahead and start to clean the outlet tube. That skinny tube is where the air comes through, and I do notice that every once in a while that gets clogged up for whatever reason. You just want to get in there with a needle and open it up so that you get good airflow, and that's how you disassemble and clean the Smoke Daddy. To disassemble and clean the Smokin-it cold smoke generator, we're going to remove the tube. We're going to take the top off just by pulling it off. We're going to make a couple turns on one of the Phillips head screws at the very bottom so that the bottom just comes right off, and you will notice that everything from that hopper will fall down, so be sure to have something there to catch it. At this point, your hopper is completely empty. Notice you have a locking mechanism. That's your actual outlet tube. It just slides into place and locks with a quick twist. And this little nipple where the air hose gets plugged into is threaded, so you can unscrew that in the event that you need to clean that as well. All right, now for the moment of truth, which one of these units comes out on top? But first, let me tell you, I like both the units. I've been using the Magnum P.I.G from Smoke Daddy for about 5 years. I've been using the Smokin-it cold smoke generator heavily, and I've got a good handle on both of them. So when it comes down to ease of use, I'm going to say Smokin-it's cold smoke generator wins that category, as it's easier to light. It maintains its temperature. There's not any flare-ups. Whereas the Smoke Daddy, it's definitely more challenging to light. You got to monitor it more closely, and there are some occasions in which you get flare-ups, which can cause your burn to get really hot. Second category was temperature, and to me, that's a no-brainer. I'm looking for cold smoke out of a cold smoke generator, and the Smokin-it cold smoke generator delivered smoke under 80 degrees, whereas the lowest temperature I can get the Smoke Daddy's cold smoke generator was between 118 to 130, depending on whether or not I used a deflector plate. For the third category, we're looking at smoke and the duration of the smoke. And as you saw in the video, the Smoke Daddy, even on the website, the biggest unit they have touts 2.5 hours worth of smoke. We were able to get 4 hours. So we were able to extend even their claims by an hour and a half, but it doesn't even compare to Smokin-it's cold smoke generator, as we were able to, on average, get consistent 8 to 9 hours worth of nice steady smoke on about a 50% with the air pump. And so I gotta love that for those long cold smokes, especially when we're doing andouille sausage or ham hocks, bacon, you name it. The fourth category, cleaning and disassembling. Well, you saw in the video, they're both really easy to clean. They're both really easy to disassemble. I think that the Smokin-it cold smoke generator wins by a narrow margin in this category, simply because I do not have to dismount the unit in order to take it completely apart. I love the locking mechanism. I love the threaded element of the nipple. The top and bottom come off, leaving me with a hollow chamber, and that's it. The cleanup was super easy. I also like the build element to it. I find that the stainless steel build rather than the aluminum body is a much better, more durable quality. It's 100% stainless steel, and it looks like this thing is built to last a lifetime. So there you have it. If you're looking for a cold smoke generator, and listen, it not only can be used as a cold smoke generator, I also use it when I'm doing barbecue ribs, pulled pork, things like that, just to add a little extra smoke when I'm cooking at low temperatures, and it works out great. So these are all points that you're going to have to take into consideration when you make that decision. And based off of the test that we ran here today and my experience with these particular units, I would have to say that Bella's cold smoke generator by Smokin-it is the clear winner in this video. And the best part about it is that it's the more economical option. How often does that happen? I hope you found this video informative. In the description box below, you'll find links if you want more information on the products. We want to send a great big thank you to the patrons of the channel. Thanks for your support. If you have any questions about anything that we covered in this video, post them in the comment section below. I read all comments and answer all questions. If you're new to our channel, we want to say thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. We post new videos each week, and I'll see you in the next one.